Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 185. So many, and many more to come. We're very lucky to have Scott Schilling on the podcast. He is an executive coach, trainer, international speaker, communications expert, owner of Schilling Sales and Marketing Inc. We talked about many things on the podcast today. We talked about how he got started in the realm of like sales. We also talked about, what the sort of fundamental principles of sales are, as well as the sort of changing face of sales and how things are moving forward. Got to say, it was a delight to speak to him, delight to have time in his company, and I look forward to speaking to him and having him back on the podcast. Hopefully, maybe be on his podcast. But anyway, please subscribe to the podcast, take your time to tell a friend, and have an awesome day. Enjoy the show, guys, and we'll speak to you soon. Haha. Peace. Ha ha ha. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 185, I have the immense pleasure of having Scott Schilling. He is an executive coach, trainer, international speaker, communication expert, and owner of Schilling Sales and Marketing Inc. How are you today, sir?
Fabulous, but I'll get better.
Don't worry, he's hit me with that joke before. It slayed me the first time and it got me the second.
Well, I answer the question 100% of the time.
Excellent. Now, I have to ask you, sir, how can I say, like, I have worked in sales for a healthy chunk of time, but no, I am nowhere near the veteran status of yourself. Like, it must be a crazy thing, like 35 years in the biz, doing what you do. Like, how has sales changed over that sort of course of time for you, would you say?
Well, I think sales has not changed over time. People try to change sales over time. They try to come up with some trick or some gimmick or some technique. In reality, sales is nothing more, and it's way overblown most of the time. It's four words: identify problem, provide solution. And if you take it any farther out than that, you're really kind of making a mistake. Now, how you do it as a sales professional, I don't ever want to sell you anything, but I always want you to buy a lot from me. Therefore, it's my responsibility to create an environment that you will want to buy. In other words, I want you to want what I have as opposed to convincing you of what I have.
Interesting, because like this is the thing. Now, if you look at some of the classic films out there, Glengarry, Glenn Ross, and like, hey, like Boiler Room, another one, like, and like, I wouldn't say so much The Wolf of Wall Street. In some regards, I kind of look at that as how a little bit over the top, below now, if you get what I mean. But yeah. But like, this is the thing, most of the times it's like, just convince them, hard, all the way. And like with what you're saying, it's like, no, I've got this, and here we go.
Yeah, the reality is you can do that. It's obvious. You've seen success when people, I call it caveman style sell, bang them in the head, drag them back to the table. You can make a sale that way, but you more than likely will not make a second sale to that person ever again. And quite frankly, why would you want to do all the work to acquire a new customer 100% of the time? So if I treat you with dignity, honor, and respect, and we do this in a process where you know that I'm there to serve your best interest through the solutions that I offer, what tends to happen is, number one, the sale will happen actually faster. Number two, it'll happen at a higher margin. Number three, the next sale, they'll come back to you because of the way you treated them in the first go round. Yeah, this is where sales people, and I won't say professionals, sales people get a bad rap, is trying to hammer home a close. I was doing a training for a fairly large direct sales company one day, and there were a couple hundred people in the room. And a woman stood up and said, I've learned the scripts exactly the way I've been taught, word for word. I got it down to a science. I use the words and I do everything that they've told me to do. And 100% of the time when I get to the close, they don't buy. Do you have any suggestions? And I said, yeah, stop trying to close somebody who's never been open. And the CEO jumped up and goes, that's brilliant. And I said, well, thank you, but it's really not. It's common sense. Far too many people try to close sales that were never open in the first place. And the reality is that comes through a relationship and a whatever. Now, again, you can hammer one home. Virtually any salesperson can do that at some time. The question is, will that one-time sale ever be anything more than that? And quite frankly, I don't want to work that hard at it. I want my customer to be my customer for the rest of my life.
Like this is the thing, like focusing on the relationship and basically like not sort of pushing that forward, but yeah, focus on that relationship and building that together so it can be something long term. I think with regards to like you, I will class as a sales professional, and I would say others like sales people will like basically don't actually try to foster that type of relationship, whether it's down to pressure from sales targets from their bosses, or they just haven't really been taught that way. Which one would you say which one would you say it comes down to most of the times where you've like come across this in your long career?
Most of the time, it's they have never been taught that there's a different way of doing it. There are plenty of people. The high performing salespeople are the people who, because again, you get higher margins with less effort if you have a relationship standing behind it. In other words, you're not going to question me on price because I've treated you well multiple times in the past. And so there's the opportunity. I mean, still fair, but higher margins are available if you've developed a relationship. Too many people rely on price selling, and I often say this in training situations. How many people can have the lowest price? One. It's not a trick question. So therefore, if you don't have the lowest price, how can you play in the price game? You have to play in the value game. You have to provide value. It's like this. This is your show. You have an audience that's loyal to you. I am appreciative of the opportunity to come here, but for me to do that, I have to provide you the host value, number one. Number two, your audience value. And if I do both of those things, then I'll potentially get value out of this. But if I came onto your show and said, hey, you just don't know what you're doing with this thing, let me tell your people why they should be talking to me instead, you and I'll never do business again. And probably most of the audience will go, who the hell does he think he is? It's about constantly delivering value in a way that people want to achieve that value, and they come to you because they know you'll give it to them.
So I have to say, how did you come to this like revelation? Because look, like you're starting out, you've got your sales target. It's like, yeah, you got your leads, off you go. Like, how did you when did you go, eureka, this is the moment, this is the time?
Well, fortunately, I learned it from the beginning. I learned that it was really all about the customer. And I come from the Ziegler school of you can have everything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want.
Mm,
When I first saw that before my career started, I read See You at the Top, and I saw that quote in the book, and it just hit my heart. And it said, that makes so much sense. So if I can have everything I want by helping you get everything you want, doesn't it make sense that I become a good questioner and really a good interviewer? You
mm,
know, you're the one who knows what you want. You're the one who knows why you want it. Stop trying to trick you into making that decision. Simply ask and guide you there. So, what is it you're looking for? Why are you looking for it? How do you think it will help you once you have it? Wow, amazing. Can I share something with you? It seems I have a solution that may just fit what you need. See, you've got all the information. All I have to do is ask you for it,
mm.
as opposed to trying to trick you into it. That part, and it makes no sense.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. It's just like it's one of those things. Like I have been not so much seen the dark side of sales, but I'm aware of like some dark areas of sales, and I'm aware of like where some people like stand in the light, and every company sort of treats it in a different way. And like, yeah, if you're starting out in sales, like with that sort of monthly or weekly or daily target you got to hit, it's like trying to get that time to that sort of buffer of time. So like with yourself, building relationships, building something like, yeah, long term takes a little bit of time to get it done.
Mhm.
So like if you had some environment which was a little bit more fast paced, say with regards to the sale where you didn't have a long lead time, what would you like? Uh, what would you recommend to a salesperson, like to like a right to sort of get that sort of extra time to like become more like established in their like market, you know?
Well, I actually, one of my clients that we took from 8 million to 100 million in about 5.5 years was exactly that situation.
Mm,
It was a very fast paced environment. And I used to tell everybody, we're going to put in a slow paced process into a fast paced environment. Therefore, we have to gain every piece of information we can out ahead of the presentations and out ahead of um, the the building of trust. We need to do that in advance.
mm,
There's three absolutes in any presentation of any product. Number one is WIIFT. What's in it for them? You got to come from an others orientation. The second is people do business with those they know, like, and trust. I encourage people to assume if they don't know you, assume they don't like you. And if they don't like you, assume they don't trust you. But in order to do business, they have to trust you.
mm,
And the third part is people take action when they're ready, not when you're ready. And so what you have to have, if they have to have trust to do business with you, you have to build trust ahead of when they're ready. If they're ready and you haven't built trust, they're buying, but not from you. If they've built trust in you, but they're not ready, they're not buying from you or anybody else. But you want to have trust ahead of when they're ready. So if you're in a very fast environment, what you actually have to learn how to do is build trust very quickly.
mm-hmm,
The way you build trust very quickly is you ask questions and you show to your prospect that you care. When you care, that will build trust. So if I'm in a fast situation, say, hey, you know what? I know we're moving really quick here,
mm-hmm.
but in order to make sure that I serve you the very best, can we slow down for a second and I ask you a couple really important questions? What is it you want? Why do you want it? How is this going to improve your life once you get it? Help me make the proper diagnosis so I can make the proper prescription. And if you can do that in a very, I mean, what did that take me? 15 seconds to mention those 4 questions right there. The point is, I can do it in a very quick environment. I can slow it down for a part of the time.
Mhm.
And the reality is, I've reported to those kind of managers that, no, you got to go, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Well, what I need to do is I need to deliver you the numbers. I will do that the way I do that.
Mhm.
And if I don't do that, get rid of me. Well, the interesting part is they don't get rid of me. The point is to get the job done. When you can train an entire, that's how we took a client from 8 million to 100 million in 5.5 years. We took the time to train them up front. And once we did that and had everybody speaking the same speak, it got geometric. The growth was phenomenal. So the reality is, yeah, it's a little different if you're the only person in your sales force doing it this way,
Mhm.
which is maybe why I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes, I can. I, I can't work for you guys no more. I'm going out by myself. It's like I almost want to be back to sell you my services, but no.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so with okay, with that, I have to ask, okay, like you jumped into sales, you like basically rocked it like a rock star, no doubt. But like what made you like, oh, you know what? No, I can't work for no one else. It's like I have to get
So
on out.
I I have and I have throughout my career worked for people for periods of time,
Mm,
and where we've been able to put in the system, it's worked extremely well. It's when people say the only way to do this is to bang them in the head, drag them back to the table, or be disrespectful, or that I only have to look at one guy in the mirror every day,
hmm
and I've got to be comfortable with that. And I'm not suggesting that everybody can do that. The the reality is that um, I love working with other people who want to treat people with respect, honor, and dignity. There's something about that that's very special to me. And respect is how I speak to you. Honor is how I lift you up. Dignity is how we both feel after that's done. And so, how do we set the stage to allow that to happen?
mm.
Right. I mean, I've got people that say, no, you let that one go. I said, we'll see. And all of a sudden, somebody called, hey, they called in their order. Okay. And they say, well, you don't seem surprised. Why would I be surprised? I treated them well. They had a fair offer. They saw the offer. They took advantage of it. Novel concept, right? We've got so many people in the world right now that are so stuck on their positions, either far left or far right.
Mm.
But the reality is the world's got to be in the middle. You can't have everybody diametrically opposed, because if they're diametrically opposed, then that's called war. And that's not going to do the world any good. Let's come back to a little bit more of the center, treat people with respect, honor, and dignity, and amazing what can possibly happen.
Yeah, no, respect, honor, and dignity. Like, yeah. It is like strongly missing from a number of dialects which need to happen. Like, because I'm a strong believer in the power of conversation. Like when you can have that power of conversation between two parties, that's where like the good ideas come out and the bad ideas come out. More times than not, the bad ideas go off and die, and the good ideas rise up, and something new comes out from that. But these conversations are not happening these days. And I think with regards to other approaches, I think that's what's just happening. People are too so entrenched, as you say, in their positions, and they just don't they don't want to come to the table. And you have to seem to like drag them kicking and screaming to the table to make things happen these days, you know?
Unfortunately, it seems like that in many cases, but when you have a podcast, when I have a podcast, when we have the ability to share a word, who knows who is going to hear that word, and who knows who is going to then go, you know what, maybe these guys are right. Maybe if we had more dialogue, maybe if we talked through this more, this would be better for all of us. So, that's why you do the show you do. I do the show I do. And I talk to the guests because the somebody there are a lot of people who have a lot of good ideas, and we can't let the people who are just causing the discord be the only voices that are heard. We got to have the people in the middle talk more.
Yeah, no, and like this is the thing, I think, with regards to, and this is why I love this medium of podcasting, because like, yeah, you get like, for me personally, it's opened me up to a number of different conversations with people I'd never have a conversation with, like yourself. What you do is close to my heart because I have been in sales for a number of years, and it's like, yeah, I kind of look at it and go, yeah, just to sort of get a different perspective. And so with your experience within that sort of field, yeah, it's good because I have met a lot of salespeople. I haven't met a lot of sales professionals. That's my thing, you know?
Yeah, well, it's not unusual, when you find a sales professional who really, the reality is a sales professional, like the Webster's definition of sales is the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money or its equivalent. And so there's a lot of times where I'm talking to very heart-centered industries, chiropractors, massage therapists, they're so huggy-feely, which is great, but they don't want to ask for money. Okay, well, use the definition. It's the exchange of a product, good, or service that makes your heart feel good. Okay, well, that gives them some kind of reframing. But I actually created my own heart-centered selling definition of sales, which is education through communication without manipulation. So what it does is it really turns you into a teacher, and everybody loves teachers. And so think of the sales professional as the one who teaches you about the features, advantages, and benefits that their products, goods, and services have to offer to fulfill your needs, wants, and desires. I'm a teacher. How can you not like me? I'm a teacher. I'm not a sales guy.
I can't say I've got an apple for you today. So yeah, you know what I mean? But yes. So with like being a teacher, and like this is the thing, you teach, but you also learn. What would you say have been a sort of a couple of the sort of key lessons you picked up over your like course of time, either in the past or recently?
Well, the lessons are you're going to hear no an awful lot, and so get accustomed to that and get a thick skin from that side, and then learn how to really turn that no into a yes by understanding why. Why did you say no? What's holding you back? Don't fight with your prospect. Work to understand your prospect. The better that I can understand you, the easier it becomes. So number one lesson is you're going to hear no, get over it. And if you can't, pick another career because you're going to hear it. I mean, that's just the way it works. And the other thing that I would say that I've learned is literally what worked 35 and 40 years ago works today. People still want to be treated with respect, honor, and dignity. They still want to be treated well. Now their attention span is shorter. We live in a immediate gratification, me, now society. It's like, what do you mean we've been talking for 12 minutes now? Oh my God, you couldn't do that in 6? Well, I mean, it's sure we could have, but why not just follow the way that it's going, right? So again, I think the lessons learned are there's always going to be lessons. One of the things that I do with my clients is I teach them 5 questions to turn any situation into a learning event. And those questions are: what's the lesson? What's my gift? What did I do to create this? How would I modify it next time to make it better? How is this going to serve me the rest of my life? So now you make a sales presentation, somebody says no, what's the lesson? Well, maybe you should ask a few more questions. What's the gift? Well, you had the opportunity to learn. What did I do to create it? Oh, my boss was in my ear about having to get this deal today, and it's just not the way you do it. How would you modify it next time? Do it the way you do it. How's this going to serve me the rest of my life? Know that people respond differently. You now have a new set of objections that you've learned how to handle. Life's not so bad.
Life's not so bad. You make it sound so simple, so easy. Like it's like going, yeah. It's like, yeah, I can tell. Like you get on the phone, just like, yeah, just with your silky smooth tones, and just like, hey, and just talk away. But yeah, the whole like no comes up a lot. The whole sort of like, yeah, get thick skin. I think with that, I think being in sales, one of the things you never are is just like truly comfortable. You live in a place of sort of discomfort a lot of the times, and like pushing like past that can like help. It's helped me over the course of time to like change and grow. I don't know if you've like experienced the same thing, or you might like you might see it totally different to how I see it.
No, I mean, sales is sales. You're going to get no's a lot. You're going to win some. You're going to hopefully win more than you don't win. But I the process of communicating, everything's a presentation. Everything is a sale. Again, it's the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money or its equivalent. If I put a kid to bed, that's a sale. So I'm learning how to accomplish this, right? The reality is everybody is in sales every minute of every day. They just haven't framed it in their head that way. And the way that I prove that is, have you ever been on a date? You made a sale. Have you ever put a kid to bed? You've made a sale.
That's one of the hardest sales to do.
Are you married?
Yeah.
You're better at this than you think. You understand? You were the product. You had to sell you. So the reality is a sale is nothing more than communicating a position for somebody else to consider, and then giving them the reasons why they should consider and why it's the best choice for them. This is where it's really educating on how people don't want anything you're selling. None of it. Zero. Not a bit. People want none of it. People don't want to listen to this show. Sorry to break the news.
How dare you?
They don't want to listen to my show either. What they want is the result or the tidbit or the technique, the tip that will make their life easier that they heard by listening to the show. And so it's really, we're all in the exact same business, results. If I can't deliver results, like if we do this show and, your audience goes, that guy was a schmuck. Oh my God, he provided no value. What the hell were you thinking? You're not going to ask me back. Whereas if I provide value to you, if I provide value to your audience, the audience just might say, hey, you know what? That guy gave us some perspective that we hadn't known before. He's really pretty good. Could you get him back on? That's the repeat sale, by the way. Do you understand? When your customer base is asking you, the supplier, to bring me back on, that's the repeat customer. Well, it's the exact same if you're selling pencils. If you've done such a great job with the school district that they say, by God, you've got the best pencil in town. Can we order some more pencils? How hard was your sales process? It wasn't. It's a carryover from the first time. That's what you want people to feel. You want people to go, you know what? There's something about that guy. He just took enough time that I know if I needed for him to take that time again, he'd do it. So I'm just going to go buy from him anyway.
Mm.
See, that the reality is we all have the ability to create those relationships. It's one of the reasons why, I mean, I'm a sales trainer, I'm a coach, I get to do a variety of different things. But the reality is the first thing I ever want to do with you when I meet you for the first time is I want to become an asset to you and what you're doing. Asset is a 5-letter acronym for a spontaneous servant every time. Let me become a spontaneous servant to you. Then you and I will create a relationship. The chances of the way that happens is going to be outside of sales training. In other words, I'm going to be able to benefit you in a different way. And because I'm willing to do that, you'll go, not only is the guy a great sales trainer, but he's a great human being that wants to serve me. So I'm going to call him over just a sales trainer. See, we need to become the hub to other people's spokes and be the champion for their vision, their desires. When we do that, you know, all you've ever wanted to do, and I don't know you completely, but I'm going to guess all you've ever wanted to do is make a positive impact on a lot of people's lives. And if that in fact is the case, and I can help you do that in any way, there's going to be something about our relationship that is different than the vast majority of relationships that come out. It's the exact same in the selling process. It's the exact same in life. If we would just go one step further to be an asset to everybody, just think what the world would be. Be awesome.
Yeah. No, put it this way, it would be a far better place, a happier place. And like this is the thing, I would say with that sort of like mindset, yeah, I'm not too sure what limitations we would have as a society. Yeah. It's like, look, I think you should be running for public office, sir. That's saying, look, like that, like from okay, for being a sales professional, like yeah, with that type of message, which yeah, sales, you go right. But it's one of those things, it's a very powerful message, which okay, I've most people like long for, yearn for, need. And like this, and like you go right, but you can go, yeah, but it's all part of like the components of a sales pitch. It's like, but the way you put it down, yeah, I'm saying you should run for public office. I think yeah, many people buy into like that type of message, and I think it's a case of, even though it was a sales pitch, I think the message is still the message, what people need out there. And it's sometimes hard when you like look out there and go, right, you like there's no conversations, discussions on either side. Like the world, some like certain aspects of the world are diametrically opposed. And yeah, being that bridge isn't easy. And I think that's what real sales professionals are, being that like bridge to a product or a service to the customer. And I think, yeah, I think that's where I sort of like sometimes look at myself with regards to doing a podcast. I sometimes look at myself in that regards in sales. I can't say it all the time because there's times where it's just like, okay, I'm not in that sales professional mode. I'm in that, okay, I need to be that salesperson, just pick up, dial, go, depending where I've been working in the times, you know?
No doubt. It's you got to feel comfortable in your skin. You've got to feel comfortable in your approach. I have had, again, I've had people say your approach will never work, and I have said, let me put it into play, and if in 90 days we prove out that my approach doesn't work, get rid of me.
Mm.
And 6 years later, they said, thank you for what you've done for us. You know, so the reality is that's kind of what it comes down to. Again, and I'm not the only guy who does it this way, but I talk about it this way all the time. I live it all the time. I share from this place all the time. And so when people sit there and say, hey, can you help me with something? I'll say, sure, what do you got? And they'll lay it out. And I said, well, have you ever thought about ... You know, I see it very clearly most of the time. Again, it's like this podcast. There's no telling how many people this will touch. But there really is, the only benchmark for me is if at least one person changes their thought process or improves their thought process to do more good in the world, it was very successful. Because you never know what that person, the ripple effect that person will create. Now, if we can do it with 10, it's better.
Yeah.
If we can do it with 100, it's better. 1,000, it's better. But too many people, in my opinion, get caught in this linear, well, okay, so exactly how many listeners does he have? And it's going to go on where? And where's the visibility going to be? And where am I going to be seen? And how much promotion is he going to promote of me, his get? It's like, gag me. You know, people come on my show and they say, how many people are going to watch or see this today? I say, I have no idea, nor do I care. And they go, well, what do you mean you don't care? I don't care because it's not about that moment. What if we repost this and a week from now somebody hears it? So why would I be disappointed about what happened today when a week from now something great happens?
True.
It's stay in positive expectancy. It's the same thing in sales, by the way. Stay in positive expectancy. If you know you have a high intention of helping that client and a low attachment as to how you do it or when it gets done, amazing things will happen. It's a high intention, low attachment kind of process. Is just know your intentions are right. I have won 100% of my audiences exactly never, nor do I anticipate I ever will. That being said, I certainly work to, and I certainly don't want to exclude anybody, but it's possible for somebody to take what they're hearing today and go, oh, that's bullshit. That'll never work. Okay, cool. Don't use it then. Now, if you want to use it, contact me. Let's sit down and let's walk through it, and I'll help you. And so again, we all have this opportunity to make up our mind to fight through all the noise that's happening in the world today. And there is a lot of freaking noise. I mean, it's crazy. But do what you do it consistently, do it with dignity, do it with integrity. Amazing what'll happen.
Very true. Very true. No, you're right about the noise in the world. Like basically, just us speaking on a podcast. There is YouTube. There are Twitter, LinkedIn. Like let alone like 1,000,000,001 different websites out there. Like all sort of vying for people's attention, which is. It's not, well, it's not easy, but it's like one of those things when you can get a person focused, That is winning more than half the battle, to get it right on pay, like getting them on right on point, I should say. Like yeah, with when you started to like going through each sort of year, like seeing the world sort of changing slowly but surely, like when was the sort of moment where you were like going, okay, the world's gone from like, was there a point where you went saw the world go from one point to another? It was like old new, or was it just a case of it just gradually set in? If you get what I mean.
Well, there's some pretty interesting studies and books and things like that. The Pendulum by Michael Drew and Roy Williams
Mm-hmm.
talks about 40-year me and we cycles. That the world, it's all about me for
Yes.
about 40 years, then it becomes all about we for about 40 years. And there's some crossovers and some different things in that. And so we've lived through the transition from a me cycle where it was all about you making money and the heck with anybody else, and the heck, corporations being greedier than they are now
Mm.
and things like that. And then it started shifting, and it has shifted into the we cycle, which is more about community and coming together and getting around the campfire singing kumbaya. you know so we've come through those that period, um, but we still have some very strange stuff going on in the world right now. And um, I had a conversation with a friend last night, and he sits all day long and studies the various world governments and what's going on and whatever. And while he may be very accurate, it was not stuff I really wanted to hear. It's like, I would hope that we're smarter than that. And he said, I don't think we are. And so the point is, you've got to be able to control what you can control,
Mm.
and share the messages you can share, and do the things you can do, and treat people the way you want to treat them and the way they deserve to be treated. Those are I think enough people doing that. Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point, about 16 or 17% of the population needs to take a stand on something, and it becomes the tipping point where that becomes the predominant concept or culture.
Mm.
I think we've got to do that. Um, I think it's at some point somebody's got to figure out burning a building does not help anybody. You know, uh, it may get a little angst out for about 12 seconds while you lit it, but past that, what the hell did you accomplish?
Mm.
You know, so again, not to go down that path too far, but control the things that you can control, even in your selling situations, in your presentation situations. I have 5 prospects right now that are all ready to make a deal, and I call all 5 of them. They all have come down with COVID.
Mm.
So, give me 2 weeks. Call me back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. What am I supposed to do? No, put the order in now, and then just lay in your fever and think about it.
It's okay. Thank you very much for the sale. I hope you get well soon.
Yeah, exactly. I'll call you in a couple of weeks. Sorry to hear.
Yeah.
Let me know if I can do anything for you sooner.
Mm. Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. And like, this is the thing. I think out there, I think there needs to be some type of like clear messaging about what a lot of people stand for and where they're coming from, because it's like, okay, they're like, we live in a society where it's either a hashtag or like some like quick like comment, and a movement will be build behind all of this. Movements here, movements there, movements everywhere. But when you sort of like, okay, but what does this movement stand for? What is your clear message? And it's past that sort of hashtag or that quick saying, there's not a lot of substance there. And I think that's like part of the problem. People get riled up behind that hashtag or whatever it might be, but they're like the fullness, the richness of things which can make a real change or a real difference isn't there. And I think that's one of the things I find frustrating in this, like in this 21st century world. And I don't know, I think other people find it frustrating as well, because it's like, hey, what are you standing for?
You would think so. And there, that's why, again, I think, what can I control? I can control putting out a positive message.
Mm.
I can control somebody saying, are you positive all the time? And how I answer that. I can control my approach to my clients and my customers. I can control whether I do, 5 podcasts a week like I do, and the messaging that goes out from that. Control the things that you can control, and put input in where you need to put input, but really, discipline yourself. My wife and I have made decisions that we're going to do business in a certain way. We're going to travel or not travel in a certain way. We're going to, the decisions we make are the decisions we make. We're controlling the things we can control. And if everybody got more into that, I think it'd be pretty amazing, because right now there's a lot of people just going with the flow, and there's no conversation about it. There's arguments about it, right? They're not getting into conversations and having the respect for your position. I mean, think about, not that I was in the debate system in high school or anything, but there's 2 points, right? And you now create the argument around those 2 points, and why you believe this to be true and why they believe this to be true, and you each present your case for consideration. Well, that's not really what's happening. There's nobody trying to create the case. They're just trying to sway you one way or the other, come to our side. And that's not good for anybody. Just blind movement, to one side or the other. Have some reasoning behind it, why you're making the choices you're making. And again, I would say control what you can control. But there's a lot of good going on as well. We're not hearing about the good. That's the issue that is just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Is that people don't want to, but that has kind of always been the case. It hasn't been about celebrating the good. It's been about antagonizing the less than good,
I would say with regards to the difference is whereas the focus has been on the bad, and like the good, like doesn't sometimes, like seldomly gets through. There hasn't been such a sort of concentration of that information just coming out left, right, and center. Like, put it this way, like I don't like when we're in the midst of the pandemic at the full, like globally, and like you heard, like if you watch the news reports, okay, you look and you didn't look outside, you would think, yes, every major country, every major city was about to fall in the sea or burn down or get hit by a small meteorite. Like, and you looked outside, the sun was shining, birds were tweeting, and like people were just walking around there sort of day to day. And you looked at the TV or the internet, and it was like, right, all hell was breaking loose. Hades, we were at the gates of Hades, and then some, Mm.
Yeah, it is. It's like I say, we now have tools like this to be able to, to be able to do podcasts and TV shows and a variety of different things. But a year ago or before the pandemic, you and I probably would have never met.
Mm.
because you wouldn't have put into place what you put into place. I wouldn't have been seeking that opportunity. It would have probably never happened.
Mm.
Well, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
So there are good things that have come out of all this. It's what's your focus. People sit there and say, why do you do 5 shows a week? Because I can, because I like to, because I like talking to people. I love learning what other people are saying and doing at this point. I love providing a platform for people that don't have a platform.
Mm.
Are you doing it because you're trying to get this gazillion person following? No, not really. I'm doing it because I'm trying to put good stuff out into the world. It's no more complex than that. Why do you have to have this bigger plan, right?
Mm. Yeah. No, like this is the thing. I think there are times where you can make it complicated. There's times where you got to keep it simple, and it just comes down to overall what you're like, where you want to be at. And yeah, for yourself, like this is a bit of a passion project. And like, look, you've been out there doing a lot. Look, as I say, executive coach, trainer, international speaker, like communications expert, owner of your own company. But here's the thing, like, like you have like overcome like your own sort of personal challenges as well. Like you had a very like severe accident at one point, which you overcame. Like, what was like, what was that like? Because look, you say control what you control. Like, how did you put that into practice when you had your accident?
Well, it's actually what I wrote my last book about, and the title is "That Sucks. What Now? Real World Solutions for Getting Through What You're Going Through." Because as I was writing about all the details of not one thing that I've gone through in my life, multiple things that I've gone through in my life,
Mm.
a friend said, "I never knew you had this go on in your world." And I said, "Well, you don't wear every ass kicking out on your sleeve. You just don't do that." And he said, "Yeah, but I've known you for years and I've never known the story behind this." And I said, he goes, "What did you say to yourself when it happened?" And I went, "That sucks. What now?" And he goes, "God, what a great name for this book, for the title for the book." And I said, "Yeah, but I don't talk that way."
Mm.
And he said, "Yeah, but I don't take it as a negative from you. See, to me, it's that sucks. I wish it wouldn't have happened. What now? Well, I have no reason to sit around. Let's go fix it and go from here," which is what I mean by it, right? And I've had people say, "Well, why the negative title?" And I said, "It's not a negative title." I said, "That sucks. What now? Okay, let's get back at it," right? And so I, my attitude towards it all is, what was my choice? To resign myself that I had a major injury that changed my career path, and to listen to the doctors when they said I'd never walk right again. I'd walk with a limp. I'd never play sports. I'd never, or say, "Your opinion, not the way I'm going to live it," and win 10 racquetball championships and do this and do that. And, but you told me I could never play sports again. So one of us was wrong, right?
Mm.
And I went through a near death experience that I lived through, and literally was sitting in the intensive care at the hospital, listening to the doctors going, "I just don't understand why he's alive." And they're looking at my MRI and they're saying this in front of me, right? And I'm a little upset about it. And I finally said, "Doc, I got it all figured out." So the whole team comes in and he goes, "Okay, smartass, what is it?" I said, "It's obvious. It's God's grace, mercy, and favor on my life." He said, "Well, that's a better answer than we got." I said, "Okay." I said, why am I here? I'm here so I can make a positive impact on the planet. That's why we're all here. We're all here, in my opinion, to add value to each other. to expand each other, to grow each other, to add value to each other. So, have I been through some junk? Yeah, I've been through some junk. Does it define me? No. Would I have preferred it not to happen? Probably. Some of it was pretty freaking painful.
Mm.
I'd prefer not to have that side of it, but it made me who I am today. How can you take back any of the things that have made you who you are now? You can't tell exactly what's happened in your life as to how it has shaped you or molded you to move forward and do the mission that you've been put here for.
Mm.
Some people think their mission is supposed to show up when they're 20. Well, wouldn't that be nice? Then mine should have showed up a heck of a long time ago. You know, there's a pretty good book that says, as we know, all things work together for our good. All things. Doesn't say all things are good. It says all things work together for our good. And so even this pandemic, it sucks. It's horrendous. Don't like people dying. Don't like people getting sick. Don't like getting people mad at each other because of their positions. But for some reason, it is supposed to work out for our collective good. Well, if you believe in that, then there should be some good things that we find out of this so that we can be of service to each other.
Mm. Yeah, I think out of like, yes, the current pandemic, it's not over yet. But like I think with the current pandemic, which we're all going through at this present time, I think it's given people the opportunity to like take stock of their lives, truly reflect on what they want, where they want to be, and how they want to get there. Whereas before, when there was just go, 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 there was no sort of time to sort of like stop, take that breath and reflect and go, hey, am I going the right direction? Is this what I want for my life? Yeah. So like, I think this is just the start of of a huge shift in the world for a lot of people. I like there's been talk of the great like resignations and everything like that, but I think it's going to be much more than just that, if you get what I mean. I don't know how it's going to like come out in the wash.
I don't know either. I agree with you. I think it's a big reset. It's the big opportunity for people to approach things differently and better,
Mm.
uh, become kinder, um, do what makes their heart go pitter pat. They're not sitting in cars in traffic anymore because they couldn't leave their house for so long. And now they say, screw it, I'm not going to go sit in a car anymore. Well, what does that do? It takes a car off the road,
Mm.
takes exhaust out of the air. Everything has it's the butterfly effect, right? But hell, we've got a gazillion butterflies going on all at the same time. So
Mm.
what's happening in your side of the world is changing things on our side of the world. What's happening on our side of the world is changing things on your side of the world. It is, again, we have the opportunity to determine to the best of our ability how we're going to come out of this.
Mm.
Are we going to come out of this loving each other more and being gentler and nicer to people? Or are we going to become idiots? It's our choice.
Yeah, no, very true. Yeah, there'll be like some people saying like it's the former, and the other people were saying it's the latter. Like yes, like I hope that's like if it's like the latter, I hope it's a very very teeny tiny like minority, and yeah, the majority is.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
Absolutely agree.
yeah. So with what's going on with like yeah things changing, everything sort of moving like forward the way that it is, how do you think, like do you think this is going to change the sort of sales landscape, or is it gonna like make like no, is it going to change the sales landscape in an interesting way? I know like yes, you're sort of like common philosophy is your common philosophy with regards to it. But do you think it's going to change for like many a different company out there?
It's totally changed the way business is being done and will be done for the rest of, ad nauseum.
Mm.
Business is not being done the same. Business is jumping online. Brick and mortar will be less impactful. Um, you know, uh, Again, how you sit in a office cubicle probably won't have an office cubicle. Just so many different things are going to be done differently.
Mm.
And so the sales process will be done differently as well. Um, but again, I think there's still some. Um, the reality is the higher margin, higher priced, better quality items still require developing value in the conversation. I've got product A and product B, and theoretically, they both do the exact same thing. One is half price. Which one would you go with? Well, with that information, you'd go with the one that's half price. So somebody's going to, well, here's why this one has got more cost associated with it because it does this. And all those things are good for you and ultimately make it a better experience for you. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'll pay twice as much.
Mm.
The point is you're still going to have to add value no matter how you go. And look at what Amazon is working for world dominance right now. They want to supply you everything. And they want to supply you everything faster than anybody else can, which ultimately crushes the other person. They're not going out to serve the customer. They're going out to crush the competition. And so the reality is look at what it has caused. First, you could get so much stuff through them. Well, then you got the Walmarts of the world responding to it. Well, then you've got the grocery stores responding to it. Now, the one thing about the grocery store is the food has to stay cold until it's delivered. Well, so delivery is kind of hard, but pickup is really good. So they've modified how they do business. The point is the whole sales process, what you offer, how you offer it, what's included, all those kinds of things are going to be different than they were in the past. The stuff that was just unthinkable is now being promoted as, oh yeah, we were planning on doing this the whole time. Yeah, right. You were.
It's like, yeah,
Sure you were.
Yeah, it's all there, black and white. We wrote it down. We've like got this chart and everything. How comes?
Yeah, it was in our 5-year plan. We just decided to move it up for you.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what we're about. It's like yeah,
exactly.
I don't know if I trust you on that, but still.
Well, again, it's a lot of this stuff is if you're not online, if you're not doing, if you're not making those moves, you're going to play from behind. And so we'll see. There's a lot still to be determined. But again, it doesn't seem like the pandemic is breaking, right? It doesn't seem like that, all of a sudden it was going to be, we're going to do this, we're going to have vaccinations, the world's going to open up again and everything will be hunky-dory. And the Delta variant comes out and all the hunky-dory got pushed down to the toilet. So now we've got something else. So we've got a different response. So how many times is this going to happen? You think the Delta variant is the last variant?
No,
kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it myself. But like, this is the thing, with regards to, and like, yeah, listen to me. Like the vaccination program here in the UK has been hugely successful. The reason why I say that, like, basically, we had the pains me to say this, the Euros, where basically, yeah, football fans were everywhere, like drinking zones, like watching the match. And the cases went up. But whereas before, when cases go up 2 weeks later, the sort of death count goes up, it just stayed relatively flat. And so it's working out for us at this present time. And I'm not like, I'm just saying at this present time, whether that might change down the line. And like, it seems to be working well with the Delta variant at present. I cannot tell you.
Yeah.
With regard to other variants which will come out, cannot tell you. But like, it's just the world is on so many different pages with how they're handling this right now. It, yeah. It might, if it's resolved in one country, like another country is like 18 months behind, or they're 5 months behind. It's like trying to get there all together. It's proving an arduous task, let's just say.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. And it's going to stay crazy for a while. And that's why control what you can control, stay in your own lanes, do your stuff that you're an expert at, and keep providing service where you can provide service.
So with yourself, like, okay, you are, well, you're a speaker as well. Do you like, can you foresee yourself being like doing your speaking gigs anytime soon? Or is it a case of you're going to be doing it over Zoom for the near future?
I think it's going to be over Zoom for the near future. There are a few live events that are opening up and things like that. But it's, smaller groups collect. I don't know. I look at the people who are traveling and trying to catch flights and doing stuff, and everybody that I know that has been trying to travel has had some major disruption and whatever. And it's kind of like, can I do other things instead? Yeah, it'd be nice to get back the way it was, but I don't think it's coming back to the way it was. So might as well just do other things. I think I don't use the most overworked word from 2020, pivot. I use the word reinvention. It's time to reinvent. It's one of the reasons I do five podcasts a week. I'm reinventing. I get to speak without getting on an airplane. I get to speak 5 times a week. Okay, that's good. Now we got to work on distribution and work on guests and work on other things, but it's all good.
So, wow. Okay, no, I hear you. Reinvention, like, yeah, adapt. Well, or the old adage, adapt or die, comes to mind as well. Yeah. So with this, what was I going to say? With this, like the pivots you're making, will you be sort of like making a more of a pivot to say the world of social media with regards to say something like YouTube, say?
Well, we actually launched our own platform back before the pandemic actually hit, called Be Connected, and we have got, in essence, a broadcast network in here where we do the podcast. We've got connections at the touch of a button, so we don't have to we don't have to go out and go to networking events. We do it internally. The community comes together, and at the touch of a button, in less than a second, I get 6 prospects. So again, that's what I'm saying. We actually launched a platform that we're in 74 countries already. Got a broadcast network in it. Got a university that's got $40,000 worth of put it to the street education that all comes with your membership. So again, we've positioned ourselves to do something different. and I don't have to. I don't even have to leave my house, you know, and I can do my business. So it's different.
Mm.
Um, you know, do do I love live shows? I used to do shows with 25,000 people in the crowd. Hell yeah, you miss that. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's a blast, but it's just not what's happening right now. So as opposed to focusing on what's not happening, let's focus on what is happening and where the opportunities go.
Mm. Indeed. Like, yeah, now this is where I'm like gonna definitely try to see if I can pinch any sort of growth ideas from you. So yeah, oh, yeah. Just like, hey, in 75 countries, are you? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we should talk about that. I bet you know some people. So
one or two. But like, you know what? I always look to like know like one or two more. It's like yeah, or a dozen, or like 2 dozen. But that's another story.
yeah.
Now with this, like now with all what's gone on and with all the sort of craziness and everything like this, like yeah, the world has changed. It's like it's pivoted again, and like you launching your platform. What was like what was one of the sort of like yeah greatest challenges to like go, hey, okay, let's launch this platform, let's get it out there, or what was the a learning thing you like learning curve from that or learning moment?
Oh, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time to teach you all those lessons, or to talk through all those. Just a lot of different things that you learn. People are funny. Facebook has got 2.8 billion users.
Mm.
Uh, LinkedIn 753 million, Twitter 383 million, 2.4 billion on YouTube. And people are saying, well, yeah, I'm on the social medias. I said, yeah, are you being seen? Are you being heard? Are you being found? You work your butt off, you get an ad, you put it behind two cat videos and a bowl of oatmeal. I mean, my God, what good does that do you? You know? And so, we've got this global community where people are coming together that want to do business together.
Mm.
Now, they're not, you know, they're not like dogs, I mean, I got to get my likes or I'm just not happy. It's like, who cares? Don't you want to meet people that you can actually do business with,
Mm.
that you can actually, have on your show, that you could do all these different things, right?
Yeah.
Tremendous number of lessons, the one thing that you got to understand in today's business environment is there's nothing so constant as change, you know, enhancement, improvement. When we built the broadcast network, somebody said, "Oh, good, I can do a once a month show." I said, "Yeah, you can, but it costs you the same zero to do 5 a week as it costs you to do once a month."
Mm.
And I said it to somebody this. I had a in studio show, beautiful studio. I mean, it's crazy, but it was $500 to $750 a show minimum. So you had to have some pretty
Yeah.
significant guests, right? So you basically do $500 a show. A friend of mine came and said, "Well, we just built this studio. Come move it here. It's $500 a month." And I said, "Well, why not come to our platform? It's $500 a lifetime."
Mm.
And they're like, "Excuse me?" And I said, I've gone from $500 a show to $500 a lifetime. And I've got, I heard this is episode 100 and something, which is awesome. But as an example, I've got 40 episodes in 40 days or 45 days, something like that. Let's put it like lesser period of time. And so the point is, if you're working to, gain exposure and put things out there, $500 a lifetime. That's a pretty good deal.
Mm.
So again, and that's just one portion of our membership. So again, we're teaching people how to do it a different way. This wasn't available to you a year ago. We launched it in February a year ago. Well, now it's available. So pretty amazing. 74 countries you can reach out to, and some absolutely international rock stars involved. So the point is, business is modifying, it's twisting and twerking and doing its thing, and all we can do is go run with it. That's what we're doing.
Like, okay, like, no, slouch. Like 40 episodes in 45 days. Look, fair enough. Yeah, like, yeah, you'll soon catch up to me, like in no time at all.
Well, it's not, but that part's not a competition.
Oh,
It's the fun of being able to have somebody who would never have an opportunity to have their own podcast or have a video or have a podcast, that's, a mom that homeschools her daughter, that makes a little bit of money in her direct sales company, would never have this opportunity. But I can have them on my show and say, hey, let me lift you up. Let me give you this content, use it however you'd like. I mean, these are the things that I think we can do. I mean, I know we can do to be of service to other people.
You are doing it, and like, hey, you're smashing it, sir. Smashing it, absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, I can give out a compliment or two when I need to. I'm a debonair fella, as they say. You was about to say, y'all? No.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's all good. It's not a competition. It's how can we, help lift each other up at a time where the world needs people to lift each other up.
Yeah, I don't see it as a competition. Like, I'm just admiring the work ethic, sir. That's all. It's like, yeah, because like anyone who can like go, yeah, you know what, bam, I'm gonna get this content out, just like boom, bring that quality on a like day-to-day basis. Not like, yeah, that's great. Like anyone who sort of gets into like the podcasting game, YouTube game, or any sort of content, there are people which will like do it once a month, which is great and all that. It's like, yeah, but twice a month's better. Yeah, and if twice a month's better, 3 times a month is better. 4 times, like once a week, that's even better still. If you can double that up to twice a week, like I do, that's better still. If you can do 3 times, yeah. And anything more than like 3 times plus, you're rocking with mustard. I say absolutely rocking mustard. So yeah, I kind of like, this is why I'm like, yeah, go on, bravo. Like, look, if I turn this into a full-time like profession, like one day, it's like, yeah, like, yeah. Like,
Awesome.
yes, I would definitely up the number of podcasts I do on a like weekly basis. It's like to new levels. Really sort of push myself onto that next level. But yeah, got to say it. Yes. Now, one thing before we go, because like you have been outstanding. So I like talking to you, like listening to you. You got some wisdom there, sir. Wisdom.
Thank you.
Now, this question of the age. You know the Muppet Show, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, pick a film, any film. Have you got a film in mind?
I've got a couple. Yeah, I got at least one.
What's that one film?
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy. Ah, yeah.
It's the opposite of Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, well, yes, indeed it is. Now, what I want you to do now is, okay, replace the cast of Tommy Boy, except one human actor, and replace the cast with Muppets. Which Muppets would play which role in Tommy Boy?
Well, Kermit would have to be David Spade's character. The Chris Farley would stay Tommy, and then David Spade was the right hand guy, so that would be Kermit.
Yeah.
The girl in the warehouse in the shipping area would be Miss Piggy. Probably the Oscar the Grouch would be Zelensky, the guy that they sell the company to.
Yeah.
God, that's funny. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that would be. Those would be the three main. Pretty funny that way.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna have to watch Tommy Boy. I haven't, you know what? I haven't seen that film in ages. I have to watch Tommy Boy, and yeah, just picture these guys as they are.
Yep, exactly.
Excellent. Yeah, can you tell the lovely people out there how they can reach you, how they can find you out in the big wide world?
They can go just email me if you like, scott@scottschilling.com. Don't find it hard to get a hold of me. You can go to scottschillingspeaks.com to hear my shows and things that way. And just reach out. Scott Schilling 8 on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all Scott Schilling 8. So the number 8.
Right.
So reach out. Let's connect. Let's do it.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for coming on today, Scott. You have been absolutely awesome. Amazing. Love it.
Thank you much. I greatly appreciate the kind words.
Oh, no worries. It's easy when it's someone like yourself. Easy. Yes. And I'd like to say thank you to you, my friends, my life warriors, for sticking with us up until this point. You have been amazing. Thank you very much. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic, be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. Yeah. Peace. And we are